Hi, so this video tutorial will show you how to Photoshop realistic looking tattoos onto people using what is called a displacement map, which is something that I'll explain further later on in the video. So first what we have to do is duplicate the image that we want to Photoshop, and I'm going to call it Marilyn displacement map, and then we want to save it as a PDS file somewhere where we can find it again later on when we need it to shape the tattoos, and I'm going to call it Marilyn displacement. So now we have to actually turn this into a displacement map by making the lights and darks of the image contrast a lot more than they already do, so that the displacement effect can recognize which parts of Marilyn's body are more raised than others, which will help the image of the tattoo conform to the shape of her body more realistically. There are several steps to making the image's lights and darks more contrasted. First we'll go to Enhance, Adjust Color, and then Adjust Hue Saturation. Then we'll turn down the saturation of the image all the way down to make it black and white. The next step is to go to Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Adjust Shadows and Highlights, and then to turn down the lightness of the shadows all the way down and to turn up the mid-tone contrast to about 75%. Now go to Enhance, Adjust Lighting, Brightness and Contrast, and then turn the contrast to 35. So now that we've increased the overall contrast of the image, we need to make the area where the tattoo is going to be even more contrasted. I want to put the tattoo on Marilyn's shoulder and collarbone area, so I'm going to focus there. So for the highlights, I'm going to use the dodge tool and set the exposure to 30%, and then I'm just going to go over the highlights of Marilyn's shoulder and collarbone area just to make them more prominent. Now for the shadows, I'm going to use the burn tool and again set the exposure to 30% and then just go over the shadows of her collarbone and shoulder. This next step isn't completely necessary, but if there is ever any clothing on the individual that you're photoshopping, it could interfere with the displacement map and the quality of the tattoo. So to avoid any problems, I just wanted to give the strap of Marilyn's dress the same highlights and shadows as her body, and I did this by selecting the strap and making it into a new layer. Then I played with the opacity of it, and I used the same burn and dodge tools to add shadows and highlights. And then after I was satisfied, I merged the layer back into the rest of the displacement map. Now all we need to do is save it, and the displacement map is done. So now that the displacement map is done, we can just go and hide that layer for now. And then we can go and copy our tattoo image, and then we'll paste it onto Marilyn and just resize and position it to where you'd like. And now to get rid of the white, we can just go into the mode of the layer and turn it to multiply. And now with the white gone, it's sort of easier to see where we're putting the tattoo exactly, and it's starting to look a little bit more like a tattoo, so we can position it better. Now finally, to actually use the displacement map, we just go into Filter, Distort, and then Displace. Click OK and choose the file that you saved the displacement map as, and as you can see, the image conforms to the way her body is, and if you click Ctrl F, you can make that edit further, but I like it like that. And now we can just use the eraser tool or the selection tool or whatever you'd like to get rid of the of where the tattoo is on her clothing. So now to make this look even a little more realistic, we can just go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. I've got it set at 0.8 pixels, click OK, and then you can just click Ctrl F however many times you'd like just to repeat that blur command. And now we can go and play with the opacity level just to make it stand out a little less and look a little more realistic. You can also play with other settings of the tattoo image, but just once you're happy with it, go and save it as a JPEG, and you're done. And once you get the hang of it, you can go crazy.